It's very fun to be able to listen to Olympic coaches tell their own stories. My name is Katrina Radke, and on this interview, you get to hear Jim Montrella, 1976 assistant Olympic coach, share his perspective of what the games were like, as well as one of his favorite races. This is Katrina Radke with Swim Swam, and I am here today with Jim Montrella, 1976 assistant Olympic coach for the United States of America. Jim, how are you doing? How are you enjoying the trials?
The trials are spectacular, and I have to tell you that Omaha has done a spectacular job the second time, and I understand they really want it back in 16, and I think we ought to give it to them. So hope that answers your question.
Yes, it's a beautiful place to be here, and they've done a fabulous job here to make this a fabulous event. Now tell us a little bit about what it was like being on the Olympic team as a coach in 1976. Obviously that was during the time of steroid use by the East Germans, but there's also unique things that happened during that Olympic Games.
You're right, it was very unique. The East Germans were very strong, and we all know at this point in time that the steroid use was rather rampant. Rather is probably a word I shouldn't use, just say rampant. But in all honesty, a lot of the public never knew, and a lot of coaches wanted to deny the fact. And a lot of people don't know that Jim Councilman, myself, Peter Dalen, Don Gambrell, and a few others were at the 70 European Championships. And it was very evident in 1970 that what we were up against. And no one wanted to talk about it. They all wanted to downplay it. Nobody wanted to believe it. We knew it then, and we knew what we were going to be up against. In 72, fortunately, they missed their tapered rather dramatically. But 76, it was tough, and it was especially tough for the women. As you know, our men did very well, and I was the assistant coach for the women's team with Frank Elm and our head coach, Jack Nelson. But it was a very difficult time for our women and certainly for the staff as well, because you had to deal with things that nobody else wanted to hear about, nobody even wanted to admit to.
Yes, I know, even in my Olympic Games in 88, obviously 76 through 88, we know that they were on steroids, and it is a big thing. People in the public do not like to talk about the things that are painful, and so obviously the steroid use was big. I know, though, in that Olympic Games, that the 4x100 freestyle relay for the women was especially sweet. Can you share a little bit about your experience as a coach on the deck?
Yes, I can, and I want to thank Jack Nelson for giving me the opportunity. Even though, quite frankly, at the time, the girls weren't real happy about what we needed to do. But on the day that we had off, I think it was a 3-day competition, a day off, and then the next 3 days, if I remember 76 correctly, in Montreal. And we gathered the girls together who were on the relays that were yet remaining, went to the warm-up pool on the other side of town. Girls weren't happy because that was their day off. But we practiced relay takeoffs, and we talked about the order that the girls would swim in the preliminaries and in the order in the finals. And we also knew a couple of things that a lot of the public didn't know, including a lot of the coaches. East Germany had to leave one of their swimmers at home, and we're sure that the reason they left her home is because she tested positive, and we knew that she wouldn't, pass any drug testing here, or not here, but Montreal. And then, to be honest, another thing happened, which the girls knew about, and so did I. Their fourth swimmer, and we knew the order that the East Germans were going to go on. We absolutely knew because they were very, very easy to anticipate. They didn't change hardly at all, and a lot of that was politics, not just what the coaches wanted. In fact, I think the East German coaches would have changed the order of events if politically they would have been able to, but they weren't. We knew Cornelia Ender was going to take off first, and we knew the order, and we knew their weakest swimmer would be last. And we talked about it that day, 2-3 days in advance. As it turned out, I want to give a tremendous credibility to, unfortunately, a young lady who's no longer with us, Kim Payton. She did a spectacular job doing exactly what she needed to do. She knew she wasn't going to beat Cornelia, but all we wanted her to do was try and stay within a body length and hug that lane line coming back. And when you see it on video, you'll see that that's exactly what she did a great job. And then Wendy did a spectacular job going second. And certainly a lot of people don't expect your most mature athlete who's highly competitive to go second. She did and was spectacular. Jill absolutely did a spectacular job third. That put us in the hunt. And as you know, Shirley Babashoff nailed it coming home, and that was their weakest link, and that girl had a very, in East Germany, weakest link. That girl had a horrible meet at the Olympic Games, and the girls called it, we called it, and as you know, that came out a real win. And it was a very satisfying win, not just to win, but to see how every girl worked together. And if you check the relay takeoffs, they were spectacular. And I couldn't have been more excited for the kids. And again, I want to thank Jack Nelson for giving me the opportunity to work with them.
Thank you very much, Jim Montrella.